I think we should kick things off. Good morning, everyone. My name is John McCartney. I am with PRSA-LA as treasurer and a board member. I'm also the founder of JMAC PR. I'm based in Los Angeles. Thank you all for joining us this morning for a really good conversation around um, everyone's hot topic in our industry, AI, and how AI is bringing some renewed energy to our industry. And so we're really looking forward to having discussion and sharing our insights with all of you. I want to turn things over to our chapter president, Marcel Barrios Perez, to give us a few opening remarks.
This morning, I want to just welcome everyone for joining us. Thank you so much. I know that there's so much in our week and day that we can be doing, and so I want to just say thank you for taking the time to spend it with PRSA Los Angeles and all of our panelists. The other thing I want to say is a note of gratitude to Jason Brandt from PRophet for being one of our chapter sponsors and for suggesting this topic when we had a chance to meet with him with John McCartney. And so I appreciate the added value that we're able to provide our members with the sponsors that we have joining us, and then also with the expertise that's provided by our panelists as well. I wouldn't be the PRSA-LA president if I could not plug a membership. So please, if you have not joined and are not a member, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to include the link for you to look at our membership, the value that we can provide. There are numerous events and programs that we offer throughout the year. One that's coming up in particular called our annual Prism Awards, where we showcase the best of the best in the PR industry. So I really encourage you to join us, purchase a ticket, bring a colleague. That's happening October 9th at Arizona State University's California Center and in the downtown Los Angeles campus. We also have our signature event, Quality Time with PR Minds, that's coming up on October 22nd at the California Endowment. And if you are a seasoned professional, please consider volunteering for this so that it's a 4-hour day, lunch included with a panel discussion, and it's an opportunity for us to be of service to those in the nonprofit sector. So I encourage you to look at that event as well, and we'll go ahead and share it. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to John McCartney, APR. He's, again, founder of JMAC PR, but for me, most importantly, he is our PRSA-LA board member and treasurer. He has a boutique firm that specializes in elevating tech startups through strategic media relations, thought leadership, and brand storytelling. With over 25 years of experience, John is recognized for securing top-tier earned media and increasing visibility for early-stage companies in emerging sectors, such as AI, SaaS, ad tech, and digital health. He serves as again, board member to our Los Angeles chapter, mentors startup founders. And he was named to Business Insider's Tech PR 50 list and earned his APR accreditation in 2023, which I will also include the link for in case anyone is interested in looking at becoming accredited in public relations. So go ahead, John. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Marcel. At this time, I'd like to introduce each of our featured speakers. So I'll go ahead and start with Jason Brandt. He's the Chief Marketing Officer at PRophet, a suite of essential AI-powered tools purpose-built to empower modern communicators to perform more efficiently by quickly uncovering authentically engaging with high-authority journalists and leading influencers. Jason brings more than 30 years of industry experience building and managing digital businesses, driving innovation and scaling growth for global brands. Previously, Jason held the position of Global Chief Innovation Officer for WPP's team, P&G, and served as the Chief Growth Officer at WPP company Gray Midwest, where he spearheaded growth strategies and fostered internal partnerships across Gray while delivering innovative CRM, digital, and performance marketing capabilities to global brands. Jason, thanks again for PRophet's partnership with PRSA LA this year. Next, we have Mirza Germovic, Senior VP AI Solutions and Advisory at Edelman. Mirza is on Edelman's core AI team. He leads the development of the firm's AI-powered solutions, helping clients strategically integrate Gen AI into their marketing and communications ecosystem. Mirza has spent over a decade working with B2B partners in AI technologies with a focus on driving innovation at both unicorn, startups, and Fortune 100 enterprises. His work spans across creative, TV production, digital media, e-commerce, and direct-to-consumer operations. And prior to joining Edelman, Mirza held positions at Walt Disney Company in digital media and innovation. Mirza, thank you for joining us. Next, we have Marcel Goldstein, Managing Director, Global Corporate Affairs at Allison Worldwide. Marcel is an AI-first communications leader and Managing Director of Global Corporate Affairs at Allison Worldwide, where he created the Allison AI Visibility Audit to strengthen brand presence in generative answers. He advises Fortune 500s and mission-led innovators across technology, energy, healthcare, construction, and safety, aligning reputation with growth, elevating executive visibility, and managing crisis. Based in DC, he brings a policy-aware lens and global perspective to every client engagement, blending strategy, storytelling, and risk management with AI-driven innovation to ensure organizations remain credible, visible, and resilient in a rapidly evolving information landscape. Marcel, thank you for joining us. Next, we have Tonya McKenzie, founder of Sand & Shores. With over 20 years of experience in brand development, crisis communication, and strategic storytelling, Tonya has advised Fortune 500s, public agencies, nonprofits, and elected officials, including Microsoft, the YMCA, and the Redondo Beach Police Department. An international speaker, podcast host, and LA County Commissioner, Tonya specializes in helping organizations and professionals control the narrative through integrated PR and emerging technologies, guiding brands to leverage innovation while building trust, visibility, and measurable impact in today's evolving media landscape. Tonya, thank you for joining us. And we have Alice Martinez, VP of Emerging Technologies from Zebra Partners. Alice is an award-winning public relations strategist and VP of Emerging Technology at Zebra Partners, a global integrated marketing and PR women-owned firm. With communications expertise at the dynamic intersection of technology and gaming, she manages high-performing teams that deliver creative strategies for Fortune 500 companies to independent industry leaders. Thank you all for being here. Let's kick things off. Jason, I'll start with you. How are brands using predictive AI to improve earned media outcomes and visibility in AI-driven search?
Of course, John, thank you for the question. So there's a few different things that the brands are doing, getting the most out of AI for AI-driven search. The amazing thing about understanding this particular channel is because so many of our brands' customers are going and seeking out answers from AI search where they were going to Google, now they're going to ChatGPT, Claude, you name it. So we have to make sure as marketers and as agents for our clients' brands that we're putting together the programs and giving and providing the tools so they make the most out of AI-driven search, which is becoming almost 30% of everyone's first stop when trying to get answers. So in terms of media outcomes, AI really helps in a number of ways. One thing is it anticipates story arcs. So the predictive AI will analyze historical coverage, journalist patterns, and some social signals to forecast the narratives that are going to be more likely to gain traction, which is great as we start to prioritize our time and try to understand how to create pitches. What are those things that are going to attract the journalist, but more likely, what are the things that the AI will pick up more likely? Also, pitch timing. AI will, through prompts, identify the best moments to reach reporters or influencers when a topic is peaking. With PRophet, for example, our technology will anticipate and predict the journalists that will be more likely to be interested in your pitch at that moment in time through looking at millions of articles daily. the AI will look at that plus other timing efforts to determine if it's the right time for that story. A couple other things, content alignment. Brands can tailor press releases, which are critical to that earned media, blogs, and thought leadership for AI-driven search to pick those up more likely. The AI search is going to the press releases first before the traditional SEO content that we've spent years and years and years putting up on our websites. So the content that's now going to be searched and more often by the LLMs is that earned media, and in most cases that press release. So that content alignment is going to be critical. And finally, I'll just say competitive monitoring. Brands, it's really, really hard to stay on top of competitors. There's new competitors every day, and AI is creating more of those competitors, smaller, more agile shops, individual shops that are using AI as staff, essentially. So with that, it's just more and more, it's more and more difficult for brands to stay on top of the competition. So AI can really use predictive AI to understand what are the brands that are not only competitors to us, but also competitors to our clients, and what are those narratives and counter narratives to stay above the fray when trying to get our clients' messages in front of others.
Thank you for that, Jason. Mirza, I would love to sort of hear what's going on at Edelman. So can you share with us, like, how does Edelman evaluate which AI tools and platforms are trustworthy enough to integrate into client work?
Oh, sorry, my mute button wasn't working. That's a great question. I think the first thing that we look at when evaluating tools to integrate into our work streams, as well as from an AI search perspective, is looking at, do the tool providers have robust governance policies in place, data protections, et cetera, that are safe for enterprise use? In 2024, October of 2024, Edelman published a landmark AI tools landscape report that I would highly recommend everybody go to our website to download the PDF and to read. And the core tenets of that landscape report and our methodology for evaluating tools for enterprise as well as AI search use is to evaluate tools on two key metrics. One is enterprise readiness, and we look at several different markers within enterprise readiness for AI tools, including data protections, guardrails, as well as ease of use and user experience, which is critical to getting the results and insights that you need to drive impact and strategy. And then once we've evaluated that readiness, we look at functionality, meaning does that tool actually serve the use case and purpose that the teams or the client requires? And it's really that cascading, one, enterprise readiness set of markers, and then second, the functionality and use case alignment that we look at when evaluating the integration of new tools into our work streams, but particularly for AI search. There's a lot of tool providers out there right now that are going to make broad claims around what they can offer in terms of data and insights for AI search. And it's very critical that when evaluating those tools, you actually look at functionality and the use case as it aligns to the metrics that you're looking to evaluate from a generative engine or AI search optimization perspective. So I would recommend downloading that report to get the more nuanced take, but at a high level, that's our approach.
Thank you, Mirza. Marcel, let's hear what's going on at Allison when it comes to AI. So can you share with us from a corporate affairs perspective, how should companies weave AI into their broader reputation strategy?
Absolutely. So the way that we look at it, the emergence of these large language models like ChatGPT, they're creating an entirely new information ecosystem. And it's unlike anything we've seen before. It's unlike the Google search ecosystem. And it's one that corporate affairs teams now need to really navigate in a very strategic way. What we're witnessing is a human-machine divergence in information consumption as well as influence. So the sources and the methods that shape human perception operate very, very differently than those that inform LLMs. And I think this is a critical point as you're thinking about how to manage a reputation strategy, is to see this distinction. Human stakeholders, we know, they tend to consume information based on emotion, based on identity, based on community. They respond, we know now, very much to video content, visual storytelling, and authentic human connections. The LLMs, however, operate on entirely different principles. Their information sourcing is structural, not emotional. It's text-based, not multimedia, and it's grounded in algorithmic authority, however the algorithm defines authority, rather than emotional resonance or brand affinity. So this divergence between the human and the machine in terms of information, we think it demands a dual track corporate affairs approach. Companies need to develop reputation strategies for humans, make sure you're properly influencing them and influencing the sources that influence them, and then have one that is a reputation strategy for machines. And while there is no doubt some overlap, the distinction we believe in how to influence reputation in these two separate spheres of humans and machines is significant enough that it needs to be treated separately in strategy development.
Thank you for that, Marcel. Tonya, let's go over to you. From a strategic communications perspective, how do AI tools reshape how PR professionals build trust amid rising misinformation and deepfakes?
I think a couple of different things are really important, understanding that misinformation spreads about 6 times faster on social media now than the truth. So the monitoring tools that AI is providing right now are pivotal, right? When we have brands and their reputation and organizational leaders that we are taking care of, being able to stay on top of everything that comes out about them is important. So these tools, if you use them right, they can scan documents. They scan documents much faster than we could by ourselves, right? So we have to appreciate that. That means that PR professionals are charged with protecting these brands. They allow for us to find credibility gaps. So when we're building campaigns, we can use AI to find where those credibility gaps are so that we're building more effective campaigns. What is AI finding? What is out there on these clients of ours to make sure that we are filling in those gaps as we're building those campaigns to build more credibility? That's super important. And with deep fakes, which is crazy, it's about 60, they've increased about 60% in the media over the last year. 60%, that's insane. We understand that having verifiable, credible sources that people can go to and that AI can pull information from is important. So we clearly use it as a tool to monitor and to find gaps, to be able to jump on any of those untruths in a timely fashion, because reputation is everything. So we're building credibility at the same time we are catching things that shouldn't be out there. It's just maddening right now, but AI is doing a lot to help us catch those gaps and fill them in.
Thank you, Tonya. And then Alice, let's go over to you. So from your POV in emerging tech, what role do you see AI playing in redefining media relations and from a predictive pitching standpoint to like identifying the right journalists or influencers?
Yeah, thanks, John. I think AI is really kind of redefining everything that PR people are doing. It's probably redefining everything we're doing as humans, to be quite honest. But I think specifically as it pertains to us as PR pros, it's, it's message development, it's media relations, it's social listening, it's reporting. It kind of spans the whole gamut of what we usually work on. I think There are tools out there that are great, that are great media outlets and social media accounts. It means that we're gonna do a lot less of the legwork to kind of find the right targets for our stories. But we need to do just as much analysis as we always have. And that's because these tools are fantastic, but they're not a silver bullet, right? So they're going to help in a lot of ways, but it's up to us as PR pros to use our instincts, to use our relationships to understand, is this really the right person for this angle? Is this the right kind of story for this outlet? It's still going to come down to us and our instincts as PR pros. But I think just the haul of reading through a ton of information and sifting through to find those right targets is going to be something that AI is alleviating for us.
All right. Thank you so much, Alice. So now I want to be able to post a quick snap poll. How familiar are you all to our attendees here with AI-powered search? ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and its impact on PR and SEO. Would love to sort of see what kind of responses we're getting here. All right, looks like very familiar. Very familiar, somewhat familiar. Oh, tied. Somewhat familiar. Okay.
It's like watching a horse race.
I know, right? I should have done an exact the box here. All right. So let me turn over to our featured speakers. What do you make of these results? Any feedback?
John, do you want to share the
Seems about
the
right.
results?
I'm sorry.
Should we go ahead and share the results?
Yes. We have somewhat familiar. I've tried it, but don't use it daily, 43%. Very familiar. I use it regularly, 38%. And then tied between not familiar at all or heard of it at 10% each.
I think it's a good thing that there isn't more people at the bottom at the not familiar or heard of it, because not long ago, I think more people would have been at the bottom, but continuing to have conversations like this and build awareness for the tools and the understanding that this isn't going away. I think that
Yeah.
happened with social media, where people thought they could, I don't need social media to grow my business. I don't need social media to grow my brand. And then they found themselves left behind. So I think organizations like this that are doing the work to show how important and integral it is in the profession is allowing for people to be more familiar, or at least somewhat familiar, so that we can, continue to grow that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with Tonya, and I think it's actually reflective of our clients as well. I think a lot of them, like probably about half, are using AI tools every day, and so they're going to expect their PR agencies to do that too. But on the flip side, there are also clients who don't want to have anything to do with AI, and that can become a huge challenge. I think it comes down to education on our part of letting clients know exactly what agentic AI is versus generative AI. And kind of alleviate their fears a little bit. Everyone's afraid of what they don't understand. So the best thing you can do is educate yourself more on what these tools are and what they can actually do.
Totally. I agree with Tonya and Allison. Just to build on that, as part of our advisory team here at Edelman, we work with clients of all different sizes, some very large enterprises, who are all going through a massive change management moment right now, right? All of us on this call, anyone who works for an organization, whether it's a startup or a Fortune 50, is going through a change management moment. And it's not enough to know that tools exist. You have to know when to go to tools, and then when you understand when to go to them, then it's important to understand, what is the functionality? How do I use this? How do I integrate this into my day-to-day? I think one of the common trends that we see with our clients at Edelman through our advisory work is a lot of time folks just want to know, what can the tool do for me? You know, I have it on my computer, you know, what can it do for me to make my job easier? And it certainly can do a lot to, you know, support communications and marketing workflows. Our perspective is always look at the workflow first and determine what is it that you actually do on a day-to-day basis and literally map it A to Z. And once you have that understanding and you understand the use cases that generative AI and agentic AI can support, to Alice's point, then you can start to strategically map the use of those tools to your day-to-day work and save a ton of time in terms of efficiency, increase your quality, and increase your output. So I think it is so much about change management and education, but also about being strategic and not, you know, throwing everything at the wall. Because if you do the latter, you may not get the results that you want.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I think what's fascinating is 3 years ago, nobody knew what ChatGPT was, and now everybody knows what it is, even if not everyone is using it on a daily basis. The fact that this poll shows that we've got, you know, 38% using these tools regularly, and probably more so because they're baked into our daily life, sometimes without us not even knowing it. So we're using the tools regardless if we're actively launching them or not, because they're in the background of a lot of our day-to-day tasks that we perform anyways. So I mean, the fact that everyone knows what ChatGPT is, I mean, the publicist for ChatGPT was amazing, right? I mean, 24 months, everybody knows. But I find it fascinating, as well as we sort of advise clients on this. It's that, and Mirza was saying this, I can't remember the last time where the tool took precedent over the objective. Like, we all have objectives to do day in, day out, what we try to do for our customers and our clients and our own brands, for either from an awareness standpoint or managing reputation or what have you. It has to start with objective first, and then we back into, okay, what's the best way to achieve those objectives, whether they be strategic or tools or technologies or workflow or whatever. But ChatGPT and the like have gotten so much attention that we're spending all of our time trying to keep up with the headlines, instead of just ensuring we're all just doing what we need to do to manage the day-to-day of the brands and the products and the clients we're trying to serve, and then finding the tools ultimately that will help deliver that, now that we've got new tools to choose from. As long as we just keep objective and strategy and brand management as a priority, and then obviously try to use the tools that are going to help amplify or make that process more efficient or effective, then these numbers will continue to grow in terms of usage.
Yep, thank you. One question I'm going to sort of do an audible here. I'm just reminded that today is the last day of September, which I cannot believe it's the last day of September. September, as most of us know, in our PR industry, is Ethics Month. So the question I want to pose to the speakers today, right now, is when it comes to AI and ethics, what are your respective thoughts on the topic, and how do we ensure that the highest standards of ethics are being met in our industry when it comes to using AI tools?
I'll respond really quick. I think that it's important that we have a personal sense of ethics as PR professionals, first of all, because there are things that people will ask us to do that we know are not ethical. Now, when we have something such as ChatGPT and tools of that nature, I don't think we need a governing body to let us know what's wrong and what's right. You know, we shouldn't need in this profession for someone to let us know that creating content that is obscure or false in narrative is wrong. We know these things. Having the ability, and because we're in this industry, having the expertise to use it to our advantage, I think we should always be cognizant of how we put out content and how it can be skewed in the negative, and kind of refrain from that. All that being said, we shouldn't be using it in a negative fashion, and letting our clients know also how we can't use it, because I'm sure we've all been asked to do something by clients that might not have been ethical. But I think at this point in this industry, we shouldn't need a governing body to tell us what's unethical and kind of move in that fashion, because these are powerful tools and they can do some incredible things. But we definitely need to make sure that we are always doing the right thing and setting the standards for what ethics looks like in this industry.
Yeah,
I'm happy
yeah,
to.
I totally agree with Tonya. And just to build on that, one of the ways that you can help your organization navigate ethics around AI and use of it is by building really robust governance frameworks and AI use principles. At Edelman, we're undertaking a massive transformation of our firm with AI, integrating it into most of our work streams in service of our clients, where it makes sense and is allowed by our agreements that we have in place with our clients, of course. And one of the strategic underpinnings of this transformation of our firm using AI tools and technology is AI use principles. And those principles are intended to govern the use of all available enterprise tools and ways that our employees should manage the outputs of those tools as they relate to commercial use cases, right? And when you think about commercial use cases of AI, the ethical and use principle underpinnings of that are just one level elevated, right? Because you're dealing with external organizations and partners in the deliverables that you're providing. And so having a human in the loop with regards to any AI outputs, ensuring that everything is checked before it's delivered to a client with a human, ensuring that everything's compliant based on client agreements, SOWs, et cetera, is critical. But also making sure that you're never, ever, ever using the raw outputs of AI tools for commercial use cases. AI is not here to do your job for you. AI is here to elevate the work that you produce. And we always advise our employees as part of our transformation efforts that AI will get you 60 to 70% of the way there, but it certainly will not get you 100%. And having a human in the loop as part of those AI use principles and ensuring that you're not using the raw outputs of tools for any commercial use cases is a critical part of our governance framework that we recommend other organizations, as well as our clients through our advisory work, develop.
Yeah, I think that's great, Mirza. And I agree, a human first and human end approach to any of these AI tools is going to continue to be really important. We have ethics around what we do as PR professionals. That doesn't change just because something's AI. So I think, remembering that we already have some of this framework around how we should use this information, but also understanding transparency is going to be a huge part of this too. I think it's important that if you're pitching in your pitch deck, if you use something that's generative AI, calling out at the beginning of the deck that says like some of these images or some of this deck was created by AI can go a long way in helping to establish trust with those clients because you're transparent about what you're using.
That's great. Thanks all. I also just have another question that I want to pose to the speakers here, and we talked about this a little bit during our prep meeting yesterday, was for me as a PR agency owner, one thing that I've noticed recently, a new trend is that companies that I am talking to about doing PR support for them, I am now noticing as part of their KPIs, we want to show up in GPT 8 times. How do you respond to potential, clients that are saying, "Can you guarantee us in these AI results through PR?"
It sounds very familiar. I mean, historically, there's certainly been plenty of clients who've come to us and said, "Can you guarantee X number of media placements? Can you guarantee us in the New York Times?" And I think that the vast majority of PR agencies have always uh, stood by the principle, and I believe it is even baked into PRSA's code of ethics, that we don't do pay for play. You can't guarantee results. We can only set up the right processes and the right systems and approaches based on best practices. So I think the same cardinal truths of that era carry over into this era. Yeah, we can never guarantee. The other thing too is that I've said this to a lot of clients. Anyone who comes to you and tells you they know exactly how to, you know, re-engineer or influence any result in these tools is lying, because nobody knows it. Everyone at this point is so early days. It's a journey we've all started. Even those of us on this panel who are a little bit ahead of the game than maybe others. Even we are still in the early days of this. We're still all figuring it out, and we really we're not in any position to overclaim.
Yeah, I think
Marcel's right. I
Marcel.
mean,
Oh, go ahead,
I'll
Jason.
just jump in really quickly. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I can remember when social media, became everything, right? Social media was the AI of its time, when it came up and it was all of a sudden taking over. And you'd see briefs come in from clients or from brands or from procurement or whatever, for, create a viral video for me. It's like, okay, I'll create a top 100 or top 10 song as well while I'm at it. Like you you have to put the content out there, and you have to do the hard work, and you have to do something, and then the customer will take over. You can do all the right things, and you won't necessarily get your viral video. You can do all the wrong things, end up going viral. Much like showing up in search results with the LLM. Now, the good thing is we know what are the things that will or will not stack in our favor when creating content that the LLMs will go to first. We know that. John, to your question, can we guarantee? We can guarantee we can do the right things to get you noticed more so than, say, current SEO strategies, for sure. But I think part of this is also like an educational thing. So for anybody who comes and asks that question, that should be a trigger to us, to say, well, that person needs a little bit more education or a little bit more context, because the question is right, but the approach is maybe not necessarily the right one. So it's on us to help educate and make sure that people are using the right terminology. They understand what the tools can do. They understand as much of the technology behind it as they're willing to accept, to know what drives success in the channel itself.
I totally agree with that, Jason. And, back to the question around, can you guarantee a number of mentions in AI search outputs on large language models? I think if everybody on this webinar took out ChatGPT on their phone and asked it the same question, every single person may get a different response, right? Because it's impossible to guarantee a certain number of mentions in AI search outputs. That's simply not the way that large language models operate, right? And I think that that's an SEO mentality in terms of requesting that kind of KPI. And large language models are crawling for information in different ways than traditional search engines, right? And it's super important to look at how can you influence the outputs of AI search results within large language models. And that has to happen through really strategic owned and earned content strategies, right? When you think about what you as the user do within an AI search environment versus what you do in a traditional search environment. In traditional search, you're the hunter and gatherer for information, right? You go to Google or you go to Bing or you go to Yahoo and you type in, let's use the example, you're going on a vacation to Florida and you type in best hotels in Tampa. And you're given a list of blue links that you have to hunt through, perhaps some sponsored results that you have to determine what is the best hotel for your preferences, for your needs, for your vacation. In an AI search environment, you can say, I'm going on a family vacation with my family of 4 and our golden retriever to Tampa. We need a pet-friendly hotel that's within 2 miles of the beach, that's near restaurants, et cetera. You can be very nuanced in your prompt. And the large language model becomes the hunter and gatherer for you for that information. It crawls the web for publicly available information to give you an aggregated, consolidated output that you as the user receive with credibility and authority. And to Jason's point, there are certain types of information that large language models are going to crawl when they're giving you that recommendation for which hotel in Tampa to book for your family. And the first thing they're going to look at is earned media sources. They're going to look at third-party validation, which hotels have been picked up in top-tier media, which hotels are being spoken about by users on platforms like Reddit or within YouTube comments. They're going to look at which listicles or hotels included within, because that's a source of credibility and an authority signal for large language models as part of the information retrieval process that they go through to give you that answer. And I'll just end on this. I'll say at Edelman, we've developed a really great solution called GeoSite, where we actually can give you that baseline visibility of understanding where are large language models crawling for information about topics or narratives, products, business lines that you care about, and how do we partner with you as a client or as a brand to develop owned and earned media strategies that are strategically distributed in those places where we already know that large language models are crawling. It's not a game of volume, it's a game of strategy when it comes to AI search and generative engine optimization. Really the brands and organizations that are going to win are going to be the ones that understand you're not driving traffic with GEO, you're driving influence of narratives and AI search outputs, and you're doing that by pairing earned and owned content strategies in a strategically timed distribution strategy that's targeted at the sources that large language models crawl. So that's how we can support brands and clients through our GeoSite solution.
All right, thank you. And then I want to launch the last snap poll question here. So the question is, and it's a little bit cut off, but I'll just sort of put it here in the chat. How likely are you to invest in AI-powered PR communications tools, predictive pitching, media intelligence within the next 12 months? All right, we got 16 responses so far. Any more? 17 responses, 18. All right, looks like there's a tie between somewhat likely and not sure. So, or actually, it's not sure in the lead now, if we're doing this as a horse race.
Well, that
Interesting.
depends. I mean,
Yep.
not sure. Like, does that mean 35% of the folks who voted just now aren't using tools like Muckrack or Meltwater, or like those are paid tools that have
Yep.
AI powered. So maybe, thinking about it in that context as well.
No, for sure. I mean, Alice, at Zebra, can you talk a little bit about, the AI tools that your team is using right now, and also what other AI tools does your team need
My
down the road?
gosh, how much time do you have?
I mean,
Because it's true. I mean, AI is in everything. AI is in Outlook. We use Teams. AI is in Muckrack. I mean, I love it for Muckrack because it'll pull media contacts that maybe we hadn't thought of. Meltwater, the reporting is fantastic. I love that it'll pull from social so you can get a glimpse right away of, is a certain story or a controversy, is it picking up steam? Is it time to deploy, strategy, or is it something that's fizzling out and you don't need to poke the dragon? I love the tools that are available to us now. The ChatGPT, Claude's, Google Gemini's of the world. I know that PRophet is also a great tool. And I don't know, Jason, you want to give a quick overview of that?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for the plug. PRophet started as a point solution 3-4 years ago when nobody was talking about this. I think we showed up 18 months before ChatGPT was even a thing, and it was really hinged on the idea of can AI help PR professionals in an industry that hasn't necessarily up to that point seen a ton of innovation, pitch smarter and pitch and find and find new journalists that are actively writing about those topics rather than sifting through thousands and thousands and thousands of journalists that might look okay but haven't been writing on that topic for years. So the AI that's the way we started, and then we took that technology, which we built up fairly quickly over 2 years, and continue to modify it. And by the way, still there's nothing quite like it in the marketplace in terms of what we do, which is great, but also very difficult because we're educating individuals about new technology that they don't even really know how to search for it because it's new vocabulary. So that's become sort of an interesting opportunity for us to, run a business, create technology, and educate a community. But we added influencer management to that, and then we added media monitoring. So it did give us opportunities to start off as a point solution and then go head to head with the muck rocks, the meltwaters from a analytics perspective and a media analysis perspective, adding the services component onto the technology, which I also think is really interesting as I look at these results, is that, AI and technology doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. You can have technology with services wrapped on top of it. If we're not 100% comfortable all the time with DIY or pure SaaS or even platform as a service, we can, in many situations, PRophet and the like, and our competitors have services that go on top of the AI to get teams going. And we're actually, ironically, finding more and more that as the technology becomes more sophisticated, the need for that human element to support the technology, particularly with smaller teams, tighter time frames, really becomes an advantage and a help.
John, you had asked what tools folks are using. I just wanted to add sort of a nuanced view of that. I think the tools are important, but I think the other thing that everyone should be really thinking about is what are the data sets that the tools are running on? And the reason is because a lot of what this is going to come down to now isn't just the tool's effectiveness, but it's going to come down to what's the quality of the database that you're using. We all know when we run ChatGPT on a web search retrieval, it's a little bit of a Hail Mary. We don't know exactly what it's going to grab or where it's going to source from. And it may be some high quality, maybe some lesser high quality. So having a really great, highly curated, strong data set that you have a lot of confidence that when an LLM is running on that data set, it is going to produce, really high quality results that you can stand in front of a board and defend is going to become really important. So I just encourage people to think about not just the tools, but the data. And one product that we like is AlphaSense. This is a financial tool. They have an amazing set of broker research, SEC filings, and a whole bunch of different, really high quality data. And of course, there's cost to that data, but we think it's just critical to look at the data on top of the tool.
It's a great point.
Yep. Tonya.
Yeah, real quick, I wanted to comment on the survey. I would love to see those numbers. I think like most PR and comms professionals would love to see those numbers a little higher on most likely to engage a PR comms professional, because I think AI needs PR. People think that because it can answer the question, it actually gives them, as small business owners, brand managers, it gives them what they need to just pump out for their sponsorships, for their pitches and things of that nature. And what winds up happening is they do eventually come back, because what they haven't recognized is, it's about to be about 90% of online content coming out from AI, but they're forgetting what makes us who we are, which is the human component, right? AI cannot tell your story. AI does not resonate with a journalist or an editor or a publisher. So it's done great. I think AI has done great in letting people know the capabilities, but it has not, with brand managers and small business owners and individuals that feel like they want to do it themselves, let them know that they still need professionals that do the work, that allow for the content that AI has generated to resonate with the person that'll make the decision to, have them placed or whatever, they give them their media placements and things of that nature. So they eventually come back once they realize I can't just get ChatGPT information and then email it out and get what I want. As amazing as chat is and all of the AI tools, you still need the human component, the element that we bring to the table as professionals and the expertise that we've developed over years in this industry. So the tools are great, all of them, but they still need us. And I think that's what's amazing about all of this.
Yeah, I want to echo what Tonya just said. Cold outreach is going to become increasingly difficult because there's going to be so much synthetic writing that's good enough that people pump out. But building actual human connections is going to be critical for us as PR professionals.
For sure. Thank you. And we're coming up on time, so I want to open it up to Q&As and then allow the speakers to give closing remarks. So Stacy, a fellow board member at PRSA-LA. Stacy, hello, good morning. Her question is to Marcel's point of targeting machines versus humans for reputation management. What are some top tips and tools for this?
Just trying to understand the question, some top tips and tools. Yeah. Well, I think first and foremost, it's really important to do some kind of a brand visibility audit and understand how is your brand showing up in the LLMs, and then to query the LLMs on what are the sources that they're using to generate that information. Where are they going to retrieve it? I think one thing that I find when I'm doing these AI visibility audits, I think if you did some of it, you would also see the same thing, is that the sources, the top, say, citations that they're sourcing are quite different from what we know that humans are sourcing. Things that would never be on a PR person's target list in the past. For example, I see Better Business Bureau come up a lot. I see G2, I see Trustpilot. Of course, we've all, I think, recognized how important Reddit's become now as a source for the LLMs. And so, 2 years ago, there really wasn't, most companies didn't even have a Reddit strategy. Most didn't pay attention to review sites as much as they should have. Or these sort of like user sentiment sites, which they gather opinion, the machines will curate opinion from. So I think that's sort of, I think, where is the best way to do it. A couple of years ago, I would have said, I had clients that came to me and said to me, Marcel, nobody reads Forbes anymore in the C-suite, and that may be in fact true. But you'll see Forbes show up at the very top now of the citation. So what the diet, if you will, of these machines is quite different from the diet of humans, and especially as humans are going more towards social and more towards short form video and so forth. So I think just getting a kind of a handle on how kind of doing an audit and getting a handle on how your brand or your topic or your issue is being sourced and retrieved is probably the critical first step.
All right.
Yeah, totally agree with
Good,
you,
Mirza.
Oh, sorry, not to talk over each other. Yeah, I just wanted to say, getting that baseline visibility, as well as an understanding of your share of voice versus your competitors, as well as drilling down into the topic area. I can't sort of underscore the importance of that enough. It's not enough just to know how you're performing at a brand visibility level, right? Because those are just very general top line prompts that you would be testing to understand what the outputs are. You want to influence your narrative at the business or product level, or narrative level, depending on what your priorities are. You don't necessarily just want users putting prompts in that are branded with your organization, because users will go into these tools and ask very general questions. You want to be included in the answer. So it's important that you're focused on the topics and products that you care about, as well as your brand visibility.
All right, we're gonna wrap up here. So I'd love to open it up to the featured speakers, and thanks again for all of you for sharing your insights and wisdom with us. I'm inviting you all, the featured speakers, to give some closing remarks and anything you want to plug.
I'll jump in. I've done enough plugging, I think. So I'll just talk a little bit about, like, first of all, thanks again for the opportunity. The panel, amazing. I took a ton of notes of things I didn't know, and that was just for me. Obviously participating in the panel, but also listening was fantastic. I just go back to what does all this mean to the marketers? And if the brand or if our brands and the clients that we work with, if we're not using the LLMs properly, in search, GEO, AIO, whatever we call it, because it is a different terminology, the brands are essentially invisible. So we need to be able to work with the LLMs to get our own content, our brands, our clients' content visible. The SEO tactics are so great with Google, but they don't work with the LLM. So it's something that needs to be addressed, and we need to prioritize it for ourselves and for our customers. And if we're not appearing, we put our brand and ourselves at risk. There was a term years ago called net neutrality. I hear it less and less now, but it's just making sure that everyone has equal access to eyeballs, depending upon how much you spend as a brand across the web. And to some degree, LLMs, are a little bit of helping brands in a quote unquote net neutrality world, where the content and how good that content shows up, particularly in earned media, is the big equalizer, not how much I spend with Google. So from that standpoint, this works to our advantage, just to make sure that the best content out there will win, but we have to help our clients do that.
Yeah. I'm happy to make a couple closing comments from my perspective. I think we're about to see an earned media renaissance. As a number of the panelists have pointed out, earned media is your best, most powerful, not your only, but your most powerful way to influence a brand's visibility in the LLM. So I think this is a great moment for the PR industry, and I think it's going to lead to an increasingly important role for us. But we just need to understand how to leverage it in this AI world and adapt the tactics that have worked for us in a different ecosystem. I also just want to say that just as 2012 and 2016 kind of marked the Facebook election, and 2024 was called the podcast election, I think that we're approaching what's going to be an AI election. It'll probably be in 2028, but certainly by 2032 would be probably a more accurate prediction. But I think at that point, the AI systems are going to become the primary battleground for reputation and stakeholder influence. And you're going to see, just as the last election brought a lot of attention to podcasts and other alternative media, I think we'll see the same thing. And it really is its own information ecosystem. It does need to, especially you really need to go in and kind of defend your brand's reputation. And I think that this is true. This will be true for corporate narratives just as much as election narratives.
I'll jump in. I think this moment in regards to AI and LLM, this takes us back to the crux of PR, right? This is where we really show people how the public needs to know, like, and trust them. And we're building content and opportunities for them to be known and trusted. So like you said, Marcel, I do believe that we are entering into a very powerful, the golden age of PR maybe, where we're able to continuously educate the community, the public, about how this works and be seen as the experts in the field, because we know this stuff. We know how it works, and we continue to be unafraid in trying new things and paving new paths in this space. I spoke not too long ago, about a year ago, in Poland, and it was a global PR conference. It was amazing, but being able to spend time with other PR professionals let me know that there are still a lot of people, a lot of companies and countries that are not in this space yet. So it's going to get even more impacted, even more saturated. It's really important that we stay on the crux of what's going on in the industry, continue to educate the public, and take advantage of the tools that are available to us, but never being afraid to add our lived experience and that personal touch that it needs to be impactful.
Yeah, and I'll just quickly add, it sounds kind of silly, but if you're not, it's not going away. AI is not going away. And if you haven't used it yet, go into a ChatGPT, go into Claude, literally ask it how to use it as a PR pro, and it will tell you, it will give you some good ideas. Maybe not all the best ideas, like use your judgment. Definitely don't put confidential information in there ever. But get in there and start practicing, start using it, start understanding what the tools are and what they can do for you. Because AI can help us see where stories will resonate, but it's still up to PR professionals to make the connection human and compelling.
Then I'll just chime in quick. To reiterate what everybody's saying, earned is back and it's critical. Third-party validation is what's going to drive visibility in AI search outputs, and it's critical to have a strategic earned as well as paired owned content strategy to influence that visibility, as well as your sentiment and how you're showing up within these search results. We're happy to partner with you at Edelman through our GeoSite solution to help you do that. We've done it with a ton of clients. It's so important to be tailored, specific, as well as strategic in how you deploy your content. A catch-all approach will not work. It's not a volume play. It's not a pay-for-play play like SEO or AdWords. It's about getting in the right placements with earned sources and pairing a strong owned strategy against those earned pulses. And that's what we deploy through our content strategy for GeoSite. And we'd be happy to partner with you to help you show up positively in AI search results.
Thank you so much. Again, many thanks to our featured speakers, Jason, Marcel, Alice, Mirza, Tonya. Thank you all so much. Thank you to our attendees for joining us. There's a topic that is definitely top of mind for our industry. So I'm glad that we had this discussion this morning. Thank you to our PRSA-LA chapter and our support team at Huntington Marketing and Geneva. Thank you so much for your help. Thank you to Jason and the team at PRophet for the support and partnership with PRSA-LA. This webinar recording will be shared. LinkedIn's for all of us have been shared as well, so feel free to reach out and connect with us and follow up if you have any other questions to ask. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your day. Some of you maybe we'll see at ICON in DC, and have a good productive week ahead. Thank you all.
Thank
Have
you,
a good rest of your day.
John. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.